Yeah. What's poppin', YouTube? It's Kings out with another Just Different video for my Just Different people. What the fuck is that? What the? Alright. We getting into it. Another what the fuck is that video. This is a big one for me because I ain't gonna lie. This is like, I wish I had this when I was going through my spiritual awakening, and that's why I'm making it. I kind of lost my voice, so forgive me, whatever. Spiritual awakening and symptoms, spiritual awakening, and the journey that you have to walk after that. What does it look like? Okay, I need to try to explain exactly what a spiritual awakening is and then go into it. So from my understanding, from my definition, I ain't no fucking dictionary on spirituality. I'm not your leader. You gotta figure it out on your own, but I'm gonna just give you, from what I understand, this is what I believe to be true. Your soul is put into your vessel. Your soul is put into your vessel when you are born, right? Your soul begins to think that it is actually the vessel. It begins to think that it is the flesh. So your vessel goes on this long journey, you know what I'm saying, from birth to whenever your spiritual awakening happens, believing that it is only the vessel. It is only the flesh that is living. One day, when life get rough, because spiritual awakenings happen in the most critical time in your life, when it's life changing, you know what I'm saying? You got a death in the family, you know what I'm saying, you lose a relationship, or it's, you know what I'm saying, it's traumatic. It's a traumatic moment that makes you like awaken to this like higher self. One day something traumatic happens and your flesh has no more power, and it has to depend on that higher self. And this is where your soul begins to speak to the flesh. And a lot of people go crazy from it, start thinking that they hearing voices and shit. No, it's really your higher self. It's your soul. It's the true you speaking to the avatar you, trying to get you to understand that this is all in divine planning and everything is gonna work out. Okay, so let's get into it. Spiritual awakening, the symptoms that you have, right? So in life, when you living in the flesh, when you ain't had your spiritual awakening yet, from when you first born, you lose pieces of yourself every time your soul is looking to express itself and somebody stop that from happening. Somebody shut it down. So say you want to be a dancer when you was growing up and everybody told you couldn't dance. That was your soul was giving you that message, that feeling of, man, I want to be a dancer. Like, it's something in me that make me want to be a dancer. But the outside, the flesh, this matrix, this illusion, whatever you want to call it, is going to do everything it can to deter you from the path that your soul is, you know what I'm saying, destined to go down, because that's the whole point of the flesh. That's what all this is a test. So your spiritual awakening is you coming back to your original true self, to that little kid that knew, man, I could dance. You know what I'm saying? That when you ain't had no dance moves, your ass look crazy as hell. That little kid that was dancing, and before everybody started telling you like, man, you can't dance, your moves not good. When you have your spiritual awakening, that's what it essentially is. You are getting back to that true self that didn't know nothing about restrictions. It didn't know anything about I can't and all that shit. That's all limitations of the flesh that other people put on you. Spiritual awakening is usually, like I said, caused by life-changing situations such as trauma, loss of a loved one. You know what I'm saying? You could lose your fortune. Imagine you got a whole, you know what I'm saying, you buy a house and you got all this stuff. That's why a lot of people, they spiritual awakening is more in their later years, when they 30, 40 years old, because they have established this long history with the flesh, thinking that that's what they really are, and then now they got to strip all that away. So anytime that you have lost, anytime that you have death in the family, you know what I'm saying, lost a friend, anything that leave you severely hurt, these are moments where your spiritual awakening happens, when the soul has to come online to help the flesh, because the flesh start giving up when shit gets too hard. Your spiritual awakening will cause you to start feeling detached. It will make you reevaluate your beliefs, because you are essentially not the person that you have grown to be. You begin to have to shed all that away to grow into the person that you truly are. Understand that, because when you were born, that is the purest form of you. That's who you truly were. Your soul was ready to express exactly who it was. But in life, everything is going to keep changing you into who the world essentially wants you to be instead of who you actually are. So say your soul is somebody that wants to talk a lot and wants to express itself. Growing up, a lot of people are going to tell you talk too much and shut up. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear you. And then when you have your spiritual awakening, you are going to come back to that true essence of, damn, I got this message. You know what I'm saying? I got this message that I'm trying to get out, because your soul knew all along that you were supposed to be a speaker. You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be somebody, you know what I'm saying, sharing information and knowledge. But the ego, the flesh, the matrix is trying to deter you from that path. So it's going to tell you to shut up. It's going to tell you to stop talking this shit. So your spiritual awakening is going to bring you back to that mindset of like, oh, wow, I'm supposed to be speaking to the masses. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to have confidence in my voice and all these things. On your spiritual awakening, you start to experience deja vu and synchronicities, because this is where this is big too. Deja vu and synchronicities. You already going through them today. As you know, not even today, I'm not speaking to you like you had your spiritual awakening, but you already have deja vu and synchronicities before you ever have your spiritual awakening. But once you do have your spiritual awakening, those deja vu moments and synchronicities, you begin to see that is actually the loops and the cycles that you've been living in literally all through the history of whatever this matrix, whatever this reality is. And you are going through those loops and those cycles to learn lessons to help your soul keep evolving. Every time you are in a loop or in a cycle, that's just a level. That's imagine a video game. If you keep losing to the boss character, you know what I'm saying, when you get to the end of the whatever round it is or whatever level, if you keep losing to the boss, most of the time you got to start the whole level over. And even if you don't got to start the whole level over, you got to keep coming back and fighting the boss over and over again until you beat the boss. And then you go on to the next level, and now you got a new boss, you got a new cycle, you got a new loop, you got a new arena basically that you locked into. And that's what this life shit is. Your soul is constantly evolving, your soul is constantly learning and growing, but the only way that it can do that is to be conscious and aware of these loops and these cycles. Because if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, so imagine that your cycle and your loop is to show love to people that did harm to you. Now that's a tough one. Exactly, that's a tough one. So imagine your loop is constantly that you gotta give to somebody that you know don't really like care for you or something, right? I don't know, that might be a bad example. I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but your loop is gonna be something that you don't want to do. It's gonna be something that your pride, your ego, your flesh is telling you like, bro, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I refuse. So I'm gonna use this example because I feel like this is a better example. Imagine that your loop is, or your cycle is, you having to completely embrace the concept of turning the other cheek. I don't really like this concept, and that's the only reason I'm using it, because I hate this concept. I hate this way of thinking. I feel like it's a way of thinking that was used to enslave my people, but I'm gonna use it as this example because I'm not really sure. In the Bible, it tells you to turn the other cheek to your oppressors, you know what I'm saying, to your abuser. So imagine that is your lesson in your cycle. Imagine you having to live life over and over and over again, constantly with somebody. You build up this long history in life, and then you get to this, let's say at 30 years old, you got somebody come up to you, y'all beefing about some shit y'all ain't got no business beefing about, and they push you in a party, in the club, at school. I'm not at school, but you know what I'm saying, it don't matter. And you retaliate, push them back, and then you get killed. Or it don't even have to be that serious. Maybe you push them back, you lose your job. You push them back, and your son that's standing next to you get bumped into and fucking split his head open. Like, this is how the Matrix will make you have to understand lessons and keep going through them. And so you keep living, you gonna live that in different variations and over and over and over again until you can embrace the concept of, damn, I gotta turn the other cheek. Bro pushed me or whatever he did on some dumb shit, or said whatever he said to me or she said to me or whatever, and I'm gonna live through my soul, my higher self, and I'm gonna let the universe take care of you instead of my flesh. Yeah, you hit me, I gotta hit you back. You said something to me, so I gotta say something back to you. Instead of me living on them terms, I'm gonna follow my soul, and I'm gonna let you have it today. And that's the lesson. That's the lesson. It'll take you, imagine it taking you 10, 20, 30 years to learn that lesson, because you only living in the flesh, you only living in the ego and the pride of like, You did something to me, I gotta do something back to you. You said something to me, I gotta say something back to you. And that's it. That can come to you in so many different ways. That can come to you with forgiving. That can come to you with setting your own boundaries, you know what I'm saying, with protecting your energy, with, you know what I'm saying, showing love to others. Like, it's just different. It's different ways that can come to you. Your relationships with people begin to shift because people no longer understand the person that you are. So when your soul is put into your flesh, you live this long ass life, right? Where you keep going into these different situations and you kind of strip away a piece of yourself. You ever heard the saying, like, you go within yourself? You know what I'm saying? You were only a shell of yourself. That every human on earth goes through these moments where you are not allowed to be your full self. You don't get to express yourself completely, right? Once you have your spiritual awakening and you start to tap into that true person that you truly were, you know what I'm saying, before you started meeting people that told you not to be your full self or implied to you not to be your full self. Once you start to truly become your full self and be who you are and stand confident in that and your talents and your abilities and things, the people that have adjusted to the halfway version of you, it is very, 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 very hard for people to accept you at 100% if they knew you at 40. If they knew you at 40%. You get what I'm saying? So when you have your spiritual awakening, you start working towards that 100% version of yourself where you are completely expressing yourself and being true to who you are. Most people are not gonna really like that. So understand that when you're on your spiritual awakening and all these people start looking at you different, you know what I'm saying, you start even looking at yourself different. You don't really know how to feel, how to think, and how to act, and you don't have no validation from others. That's because you are on your spiritual awakening. Your soul is awakening, and your soul don't give a fuck about the flesh. It don't care about how people feel. It don't care about all that sad shit, you know what I'm saying, about you wanting to feel accepted or none of that. Your soul is one of a kind. Your soul is never going to fit into the majority. It's never going to be, every soul stand out. When you know what I'm saying, when you living in your soul self and you truly expressing yourself as who you really are, everybody is gonna stand out. And that's why we live in a world right now why everybody kind of fitting in or trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to fit in, because we all living in the flesh, we living in the ego, and the ego doesn't want to detach too much from reality, because it's gonna show you that the ego is all fake and the soul is the only thing that's real. But we gonna get into that later. Your inner voice, this is what drives people crazy. When you're on your spiritual awakening, your inner voice seems louder than it ever was. You know what I'm saying? Your inner voice is awakened. This is where the spiritual awakening comes from. Because when you living in your ego, from what I can imagine, because I can't even really remember what I felt like before I had my spiritual awakening, because once it's like, oh shit, what is this? When you are living in your ego, when you were living in your flesh, I feel like you're living off just instinct. You know what I'm saying? You living off of fight or flight mode. You living off of your vessel. It reacts to whatever. It just reacts to whatever the your environment is. So if something hit me, I hit it back. You know what I'm saying? If something feel good, then I completely, you know what I'm saying, I want more of it. If I eat something that tastes good, that's good, I'm gonna keep eating it. If I drink something that tastes good, I'm gonna keep drinking it. If it's nasty, I don't want it. And that's the ego, that's the flesh. But then once your soul becomes active, once your soul becomes awakened, your soul is like how do I say this? Because your ego, I want to say, it's like the logical side of it. So yeah, this tastes good, so I should eat it. This, and not even logical, yeah, logical and desire, right? So this tastes good, I'm gonna eat it. Why not? If this tastes bad, I'm not gonna eat it. Why not? But then your soul come back online and wake you up to like, yeah, that don't taste the best, but that's good for your body. Yeah, that shit tastes good, but that shit is horrible for your body. You know what I'm saying? So now you got this inner voice trying to show you what discernment is, and you were living in your ego initially. So it's hard to understand, why is this inner voice trying to tell me that shit is not for me, that I feel like it's for me, because it tastes good, but why is my inner voice telling me that I shouldn't eat it? You know what I'm saying? That person that let's look at it like this. Say you was in a relationship with flesh, right? Because say you got with somebody, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, because you liked how they look. or y'all had good sex or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then your soul come online, you have your spiritual awakening, and your soul is constantly telling you that's not the right person for you. You shouldn't be with them. They're harming you. You get what I'm saying? But your flesh is like, but I love them. You know, you love having sex with them. You love how they look. Your soul, which can see the beginning and the end and the moment, is looking at your whole journey and saying like, nah, this is your real one over here. You know what I'm saying? What you really supposed to be, the person that you really supposed to be with is actually living over here, and you actually out of alignment. You walking down the wrong path because you following your flesh. Your flesh is guiding you, so it kind of drive you crazy because your flesh is telling you one thing and your soul is telling you something completely different. So this is where people start feeling pulled into. You become more intuitive because your soul knows the beginning and the end. Your soul know the whole story. So your soul, you become more intuitive now because your soul is kind of trying to hint at you when things are coming. You ever had somebody, you ever knew somebody, like you ever thought of somebody's name and then they called you? Like you literally like, damn, I'm thinking of so-and-so, and then you look at your phone and your phone ringing with, that's because your soul knew that person was calling you and tried to hint it to you, and your soul can do that to you with anything once it becomes online. Once you have your spiritual awakening, you can tap into that. You can use that to tap into damn near everything because your soul knows everything. Honestly, you start to feel alone. I kind of already talked about that. On your spiritual awakening, you're gonna feel alone because nobody's gonna understand you, because you basically don't even understand you, because you're not your true self right now. You are the person that other people wanted you to become. You are other people's thoughts right now. You are not yourself. You are living in the flesh, and the flesh has guided you into living the life that everybody else that you have encountered in the flesh, they have convinced you to live their life, their way of thinking, instead of how your soul truly intended to live. You feel a stronger connection to nature because you got to know that nature is the true God, right? The true God that we pray to and looking for all the time is really in nature, right? And then we got the soul, that's another piece of God and things. But then once your soul become online, your soul want to connect with itself, essentially, right? And that's basically in nature. We come from nature, we come from the earth. And so when we living in the flesh and shit, and we only worried about this civilization world, this society shit that we living in right now, that's not of the soul. The soul wishes to be in harmony with the universe, and the nature is a part of the universe. So when you're on your spiritual journey, when you're on your spiritual awakening, you're gonna be pulled to nature because that is your true home. Your crib that you live in with AC and all that shit, yeah, it's comfortable, it feel good for your flesh, but that's not truly what you come from. You come from outside, nigga. Birds got a nest. You dig what I'm saying? Birds made a nest, nigga. They ain't make no full crib with AC and all that shit. And that's essentially where we come from. We come from nature. We are of nature. You begin to see the world different, and then you start to feel a strong empathy for others. When you're on your spiritual awakening, you start to be able to feel others' pain, and yeah, because you see that everything is connected, right? That once you on your spiritual awakening, once you have your spiritual awakening, you begin to see that you're really no different than any other person, any other living thing on this earth. The only thing that makes you different is the journey that you walked. You just walked a different path than them. You just walked a different journey. And so when you have your spiritual awakening, you kind of start to see that, like, oh wow, you living that life because you've just feeling a lot of pain. Or like you living that life because you feeling a lot of pain, so you just trying to do everything you can to chase something that feels good. You get what I'm saying? So with the spiritual journey, it's easy to look at somebody and understand that they are not intentionally harming you or whoever else they really hurting. It's really just they ego, their flesh, looking to feel good. I want to say that their ego and their flesh is looking to feel good, but also their ego and their flesh is damaged, right? Because somebody could have took the piece away from them that made them feel love, that made them want to show love to other people. That can be stripped away from you in that growing process before your spiritual awakening, because you start to feel like you can't give love. You start to feel like you're not worthy of love, and you start to see that as truth. You are nothing but your perception, but your awareness, you know what I'm saying, but your reality in the path that you walked. So when you have your spiritual awakening and your third eye, your first eye, your inner eye, whatever you want to call it, is open, you are able to see into other people's journey and path. Like, oh wow, you really just dealing with a lot of pain. You're not looking to hurt me. You're not looking to hurt other people. You are hurt. You like, you know what I'm saying? Hurt people hurt people. This is where these sayings come from. Okay, and that's the last thing for that. I really wanted to do the stages of a spiritual awakening. How much time is this? 20 minutes. I want to do like, comment, and subscribe on this video so that I can do the part 2 of this video where we're gonna do what the fuck are the stages of the spiritual awakening. Thank you all for watching this video. Thank you for supporting me. I love you all, brothers and sisters. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down in the comments. If you want to see a certain kind of video, put it down in the comments. I'm still doing a giveaway. I'll be linking it somewhere in the description or up top right here. Stay up, don't fall down. If you do, get back up. Kings, queens, gods and goddesses, brothers and sisters, keep on moving, keep on growing, keep on knowing that you are a god or a goddess. Do not let this matrix deter you from your true path. Keep walking strong. Keep your head up. Keep learning, keep loving, keep living. I love you all. Bye. Hey.